Hello everyone, this is Tina. Welcome to this section. I'm going to introduce Redux. Okay, so let me first make it ready. Okay, first, why do we need to have Redux? Suppose now we are building a complex web application and have lots of components like user authentication, shopping carts, coupons, product cards, and user interface, user preferences. Okay, and each of those components have its own data, or more specifically, state that can change over time. And because we have so many components and they may talk with each other, they may communicate with each other, managing all such data could be difficult and messy work. And keeping track of this data at each and every individual component can also become difficult. Because our application is complex and the state is changing over time, and we have to communicate between among those components. So this state and track of the state, manage state can be very difficult, and Redux can help us solve the problem, and it will provide a centralized place, a store which store all the data. Okay, centralized application store. All your state can be resides inside this store. Store hold the current state of entire application, and instead of scattering the data across different components in our application, and the Redux help us keep it in one place. Okay, so that's the why do we use Redux. And you can also take this link to take a look at the motivation of Redux was being created. Basically, yes, our application get complex, and when we use state to maintain the state in each component, and they are being communicated with each other, it could be difficult and tedious to do. Okay, so here I have a diagram which talk about with Redux and without Redux. Suppose this is our React components and the tree structure. This could be our app, which is root, and we have so many different components that are talking with each other. Suppose this is a red purple component. It make a change, okay? And once it make a change in the state, it will also cause other component to reactive to the change in this component, which labeled as purple here. So when the purple changes, it will cause this component change. And when this component change, it will cause this component change, okay? And also cause this component change. And when this component is being changed, it will cause this component change. And this component will cause this one to be changed again. And this component will cause this component to be changed. And it also will cause this component to be changed. So it becomes very messy. You don't know where it's being initialized, okay? So that's a problem without the Redux, okay? Because once you change one component, you have to look at all the places in your application to see, which part I subscribe or which part will also react to the change. And with the Redux, it's very simple. Once you change in the purple component, because if I want to change, you have to make a change to a store. So it's gonna be this green line, okay? If this purple one change, it change on the store. And for all the other components, when they subscribe to a change, they just grab, okay? So once they change to a store, and this component, and this component also subscribe to the state, okay? And once changing store, the store will, because they are subscribed, so they are automatically get the changes from the store. It's much clearer compared with without Redux. That's the idea, because we keep all the state in one place, okay? We keep all the states in one place. So what is Redux? Redux is a state management. This is the first keyword, state management. It's a library for any Java applications, okay? You can use Redux in React, particularly popular in React. You can also use Redux with Angular and with other frameworks, okay? It helps manage application state in a predictable way. We'll talk about the highlighted words here later. It provides a centralized store for all application state, allowing components to access and update state through a well-defined structure of actions and reducers. We'll talk about it later, okay? This approach promotes an unidirectional data flow. This one means, suppose I want to make a change on the state, you have to dispatch an action. Okay, and if you want to listen for a change, you have to subscribe. Okay, you have to get the change by yourself, get the state by yourself. Making it easier to understand how data changes over time and simplify debugging and testing. Redux is especially for large or complex application. If you have small application, probably use state, or when we use the context is good enough. Okay, where managing state can be more challenging. So now let's talk about first. Redux is for any JS applications. Can be used for various frameworks and library as we talked about before, and primarily those in JavaScript ecosystem. It can be used in Node, React, Angular, and so on. But for this lecture, we only introduce React with Redux. Okay. Redux is mostly commonly associated with React, but its principles can be adopted to work with any other frameworks, libraries in Java system ecosystem. Okay. Second one we'll talk about is state. What is state? Because we mentioned Redux is a state management library. Okay, so what is state? State refers to the data. First, state is what? Data. Data represents what? What is this data? Data will represent the current condition of your application. Okay, state is the data. The state can be include anything relevant to the application, like user information, UI settings, data fetch from API. So take a look at our example. Here have 3 different states of different applications. The first one is state is what? Is a person. It has first name, last name, age. So this is the state. Whatever you want to maintain, anything. For a second example, this state is what? This state is array. Array of what? Array of a street. Address, sorry, my bad. Array of an address. We'll maintain an array of address. That's a state. And the last one, the state is what? Is a to-dos. It's an object. They have to-dos, have a loading. Oh, here has a mistake. Have a loading. So state can have to-dos. To-dos is an array. We'll have a different array of different to-dos, ID, text, and completed or not. Have a loading, true or false. Potentially can have more others. So state is what? It's a data representing current condition of application. You can also use another scenario. You take a snapshot of your current running application. Whatever being you can generally speaking, whatever being displayed on your page, dynamic content, that's your state. Okay. Next one. Why do we say Redux is predictable? First, it's a single source of truth, because all your state is stored in one application, one place, not one application. All our state is stored in a single place called a store. Okay, single centralized. And the unidirectional data flow, it doesn't do bidirectional unidirectional. Either if we want to get information from the store, which you get a state, it's from store to the view, you retrieve the state. Okay, if you want to change the state from our components, or we can dispatch an action to change the state, they are separated. The flow, the two actions are separated. One is get. You have to initialize from your components. I want to get a state. Second one, if you want to change the state, you have to dispatch an action. Okay, we'll talk about the action later. Immutability. A state in Redux is immutable, meaning you never directly modify the existing state. This is similar when we use state. The hook use state in React is immutable. It's never modify the existing state because it just do reference comparing to check if a state is same or not. Okay, we are going to have actions and reducers. State changes are made only through actions. Only through actions. Actions will tell what? It's an object which will describe what is going to happen. What you want to you want to place an order, you want to add something to shopping cart, or you want to remove from shopping cart. It's an object describe what will happen. And also reducer. Reducer is what? Reducer is a function. And this function will take the current state and action to return a new state. We will have demos in the future one by one. Okay. Reducer is what? A pure function. And you give me the action and also the current state. I will always return a new state for you. And this separation comment means every state change is traceable and easy to be understood. Okay. Predictable state management. This one, because reducer are pure functions, give the same input, it will always give the same output. Let's give an example. So this is a one of action. Okay, this is our reducer, which is a function of reducer. So for our action, we just describe what we want to do. We want to do what we want to do using type. I want to do what? I want to do increment. Suppose you give me a same current state, okay? And you give me current state is the count, default is count 0. We use this one as example. Suppose my current state is count equals 0, okay? And now you give me this action, which type is increment. Then I'm going to execute our count reducer to get the new state. And it was, action is increment match to my type. I will do what? Spread will get a count 0, and then I count state plus 1. It's going to have what? Eventually here we'll produce a state and which has what? Which has a count equals what? Equals 1. Okay. So it's predictable because you give me your current state, okay? You give me the action. It will always produce the same output, okay? Because count reducer, the reducer is pure. That's why it's called a predictable. You don't need to look at the other code. You just take a look at this piece of code. You give me action, you give me a type, and I will give you a new state. That's why it's called, the Redux. It's predictable, okay? So we talk about the 3. First, Redux is a state management. Okay, what is state? It's a data represent current condition of application. For any Java applications, it can be used with Redux, Node, React. It can be used with React, Angular, Node, any JavaScript ecosystem. It's predictable. Okay. Because based on the reducer and action, we will know our new state. Okay, that is what we cover so far. And now, what is the Redux Toolkit? Here I have to just explain. Later on, we'll have a hands-on experience. You will see. Okay, it's an official opinionated battery included toolset for efficient Redux development. Because without Redux Toolkit, if we use Redux only, we have lots of boilerplate code like action creators, constants, reducers. Okay, you have lots of boilerplate code, and with Redux Toolkit, it provides a way for us to write efficient Redux development. Okay, it's a recommend library for managing state in Redux applications. We'll talk about it later. And the Redux Toolkit over vanilla Redux is reduce boilerplate code, like for those constants, action creator, reducers. It will be just using one single creator slice. You'll get everything. Then you don't need to write those by ourselves. Okay, built-in best practices. If we want to have a complex object using with Redux, okay, because Redux the state is immutable. Okay, you either use you probably will have nested nested spread. You will because you cannot change on the original state. okay? So we may use what? Emmer for immutable state updates. With Redux, you have to install Emmer by yourself. But with Redux Toolkit, Emmer is built in, okay? And easy store configurations, we'll see. Not so much, okay? And enhanced async logic handlings, it has a create async thunk. It will automatically give you pending, fulfilled, reject state. So make our async flow more manageable, okay? Previously, you have to do by yourself, okay? And also you have to include the async Redux thunk, this dependency by yourself if we want to have async actions, okay? TypeScript support, have a better TypeScript support out of box, like a type definitions for actions and reducers, okay? We will see later. And what is the React-Redux? We have React, okay? React is what? You give me data, okay? You give me data, and I will help you to do what? I will help you render the view, okay? This is the React. You give me data, I will help you to render the view. Redux is what? I only help you to maintain the state, which is data. But if my state is changed, do I know I should trigger to re-render the view? No, Redux don't do. Only React know, okay, when your data is changed, I will need to re-render the view. But when Redux or Redux Toolkit, when the state is being changed, he doesn't know I have to render the views, right? So we have to have a bridge between them, and this is called the React-Redux, okay? React-Redux is a library that provides bindings for integrating Redux with React applications. Basically, React-Redux connects Redux to React to Redux, combine them, connect them together, okay? So once the state is being changed in Redux, React-Redux will notify React, say, oh, you have to, the state is being changed. You should go and re-render the view, okay? Something. And also React-Redux will help you to, oh, I need data. Data is where? Data is in the Redux, okay? He will give you API how to get the information from the Redux. Okay, now when should we use Redux? At any given time, the state of a specific component must be available and shared with other components. And one component need to change the state of another, which you here have communications. The basic guideline is if you don't need to use Redux, okay, you just don't use it. Suppose use state or use context, okay, is already enough for your application, then don't use Redux, okay. But if you encounter lots of challenges without using it, like lots of components communication, okay, and it's like a spaghetti, then use it, okay. And here we have a summary. Redux is a core state management library, organized and centralized application state, but it requires more manual step setup and code. We will see later. We will have hands-on experience. Okay, Redux Toolkit is on top of Redux. Basically, it is built on top of it just to make our life easier when we write Redux application. It's a simplified modern version of Redux that reduces boilerplate code, includes lots of APIs like create slice, configure store for us to use. Okay, so we don't need to do lots of manual setup and code. That is Redux Toolkit do. React-Redux is a library that connects Redux with React, allowing React component to easily access and update Redux store. So in this playlist, I'm going to introduce Redux, which is a vanilla Redux APIs, and we will also introduce Redux Toolkit. So after that, you will know why we favor this one over this one, okay? Because this one have lots of tedious manual setup have to do. Then we will connect our Redux with React and to be used in React, how you use them together, okay? So that's what we're going to see in this playlist. And now next one. Thank you. See you in next video. We'll get some hands-on experience. Okay. Bye-bye.